Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame. Today I'm doing another 1v1 after a few, I think about 6 minutes in the queue. The ranked matchmaker decided, well, you know what? We're going to throw this private right into the arms of a colonel. The colonel called CV their combat, but actually Blitz War on YouTube. He's a fellow YouTuber, he does Wargame and I'm linking to him down below in the description. He has also probably at this point already released a video on his ranked game, or well, this ranked game, because he was supposedly live commentating on it, as opposed to me. I just, after a couple of glasses of wine, decided, you know what, screw it, we're going to go again. This was my 4th loss this day, and I just wanted, or well, let's, spoiler alert, it's going to be my 4th loss this day, and I decided to just try something new. I'm going to keep calling him Blitz War because that's his real name. He's operating, I think, a South Korean deck. And I'm operating the Baltic deck that I have been using for quite a while. My plan was straightforward. Deploy very, very, very little to Bravo. Normally, at least from the other side, it's fairly easy, supposedly, to get to the town. Because you got this road. And this road will take you there quickly. You can actually get to this part faster than you can from this side due to the weird layout of the roads. So I decided, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to bother. We're just not even going to try. I'm going to deploy some Yakety over there, some KTs potentially back here to provide fire support over the field, and that's it. BMP 1 KT over to the far left to just scout out anything that might try and cross the field. Some defensive units over here in the form of the anti-air version of the Su-57-2. The majority of my forces, forward. BMP-1 KT, duos, T-72 M1 Wilkes, Su-57 anti-air, KT, more KT, one carrying Yakety 90, the other carrying Panzer Yakety, T-55 recon. And because I thought that if I can make it all the way here, I'm going to get hit by airplanes, I decided to bring the I-290 and a ROM and an Erix. This is going to be a pretty heavy anti-air defense to make sure that whatever I still have surviving in the next couple of minutes is going to, well, survive. So, here we go. It's quite the eventful game. I'll try to cover as much as I can, but there is a lot going on. Now, Blitz War opens with an entire column of M113s with recoilless rifles. I haven't seen this before. Interesting strategy. These things have virtually no armor, 1 frontal, 1750 range. They do AP damage and they do high explosive. Against my infantry, well, the infantry is just going to get overrun. Fortunately, I try to give as much resistance over here, where he only has 1 KM900 with Chokyon-sa, Fiat 6616 over there on the far right, and my, of course, entire push gets spotted. Or rather, he does know that I have 2 tanks over there, so he probably assumes that I have some more. And he's not wrong, I have some more, and he counters it with KM900s with the recoilless rifle infantry inside. Also brings in some more infantry, just line infantry, to secure the woods over here before I take them. In the meanwhile over here, I do 1 strike with a Hawk and try to at least slow down some of these, these M113s that just kept coming. The Yakety have been on the receiving end of some of the fire from these 113s. Fortunately, the KTs were able to at least do some damage. But if he just keeps driving, I have nothing. I am able with the KT over there to go after his Mistral, but he has already deployed Chokyon-sa here and an OH-6 over there. Nevertheless, I am close to the front line, or less close to where I want to be, which is just inside of his spawn. It's really aggressive, but unfortunately my AA is not aggressive enough. I got the Ito over there and the ROM over there, and of course an AH-1J pops up and starts to go to town on the infantry that I want to have, well, going to his town. Which, of course, is not going to be welcome there, as the AH-1J very clearly indicates. So the Panzer Yakety were the first target, now it's the KTs, the recon the recon vehicles. Fortunately, the T-55 recon tank is still alive, but I am very close to his air spawn, and the Peace Pheasant shows up, escorted by a Jaejong Ho, which is a South Korean light fighter. This one, I'm not quite sure what it was going after. Maybe doing a gun run? Because I have nothing out there. I have no plane whatsoever. But I am able to shoot it down. His first air kill, I think it was credited to the Eric's there. Now, I'm able to push back against his reinforcements. His reinforcements in the form of recoil infantry or recoilless rifles went down. His resupply of other infantry also went down, but his KM900s are still there. And he spawned in a couple of KAFV90s to counter. These things have 13 punch. They do not have a lot of frontal armor. They are no match for my Wilks, but of course they can do damage against my infantry, and that's exactly what they're doing. They are very slowly, but gradually working their way through my Yekeri, which I need to push back against the UDT Seals. I'm also bringing up the 57-2 to try and provide some more fire support against that AH-1J that's still not dead. This thing fires 4 or 5 rounds, or it feels like it, and then reloads. Not the best of NTR. And at this point, I think I call in... Yeah, there's the Ito, and the Ito finally gets the kill. Another Peace Pheasant flies in, but I think does not get... Yeah, it gets the hit on the 57-2, where I suppose the Wilk was the primary target. Now, there are all sorts of mini skirmishes happening across the map. I got Chokyon Sa behind me. We have his 113s over here close to my units. I called in a duo of stealth tanks to just defend my spawn. I have a BMP-1KT over there, but he has the Chokyon Sa, the OH-6 and more recoilless rifle. He has the town with recoilless rifle infantry and a Mistral and tow launchers back there. 2 263s to make sure I have no planes flying forward. It's a weird match. I just kept throwing units at him as quickly as I could. I should have also brought these up. These were more of a flank defense in case there was a helo offensive, because lately I've been helo rushed quite a bit. Fortunately, the Mi-8 over here kind of warns me to the fact that there might be something there in the form of the Chokyon Sa. So it's time to move the ROM up, to move the XA-180 up before they move to me. But I'm a little busy. I'm moving the Erics. I want the Erics to start spotting. I'm hoping to spot his command unit. And in the meanwhile, I'm flying a Hawk around to try and deal damage against what I think is the most likely position of the command vehicle. Over there. So I drop, find absolutely nothing. I don't even damage his CV. And in the meanwhile, the Chokyon Sa is trying to hunt down my ROM. They do get the XA-180, but nothing else. And at this point, he just calls his units back home. Tow launchers are coming back, the 263s are coming back, and 2 KM900s are coming back. Which means that the rest of the units are pretty much all over the map, except for the OH-6 over here, which appears to be moving to flank. Now at this point, I am trying to find his command vehicle. I'm using the Yekeri, and I think at this point, or close to this point, I find it. He has called in a second CV, because I was definitely getting close to the primary target, his command vehicle. And this push, even though there's not much left, well, I'm trying to get as much steam in it as possible. Of course, tanks and other mechanized units are going to be slow, so I decided to call in the Mi-8T KT to try and get at least some form of an offensive going. The Husam Mistrals are not having any of that nonsense and quickly shoot down the KT. The 263s over here, they are definitely a threat, and the Hawk that I sent in to do another bombing run died. In the meanwhile, the Erics are trying to get a kill on the 263s. They kill one. The Appalachian is very accurate, but he spots it, he moves back. I have to push the Erics forward, and that kind of helped me, because while trying to pursue his 263, I actually move forward with the Erics, and I find his CV. Eric's fire missed the 263 and get a full dose of 20mm ammunition from the 263, which is not impressed with the attempt of the Erics, but the Erics finally get the kill. Weird match so far. I have nothing left. I have a Taluk, just a mortar. I have dropped off some Spado to try and get as much fire support into this town as possible. I just want to get some infantry in here if I can. The Mi-17s with their rocket pods unfortunately cannot assist because the Mistral was a threat. Little did I know it had run out of ammunition. Let's zoom out a little bit, shall we? At this point, I also have sent my BMP-1KT from here forward. And it's actually killing off a KM-900, which was randomly over there. It was such a weird match to play. I send in a bombing run with a Hawk, narrowly missing the CV, which was just casually driving away. The CV stops as the bombing run is done, the threat has passed, and he parks it back into this position. Once again, making sure he can spawn stuff. At this point, I push in with the Spado, and thanks to the terrain, I do get a little bit of cover against the UDT Seals, but not against the KM-900s. And as much as I would have liked to push in with the... I'm not even sure where the hell they went. The Mi-17s, I think they already died. No, that's a Hawk, or I think. Anyway, the Mi-17s that I had over there, no more. So unfortunately, I'm pushing in without fire support, which means that the Spado are going to be in a pretty bad state by the time they get to the building. But fortunately, the UDT Seals, which have the M60 Shorty as a CQC weapon, do not have it enabled. This is something I only spotted just now. They are definitely geared towards anti-tank warfare, so let's say forest warfare, making sure that no vehicles get close. But they got microed and, well, they were not allowed to fire their M60. So the Spado have a bit of an easier time and are even able to overwhelm an elite group like the UDT Seals. The Eric's over here is still trying to find the command vehicle, but failing. And unfortunately, I think they get spotted. Yeah. Much to my dismay, an AH-1J flies over, and I am fresh out of Iglas. Well, I'm out of everything, basically. I'm out of guys, I'm out of Appalachian, and I'm out of Igla. So, we'll just have to use the Jetomatic. And it works. These guys shot down a helicopter, basically, with an Uzi. And it worked. But I do lose sight on that position. So, what else? Well, I take down in Foxtrot his, I think it was Chokyonsa, his recon infantry. And this means that the right side of the map is practically mine. Unfortunately, that cannot be said for the left side of the map. He still has the recoilless rifle vehicles, he still has them over there. I decide to try and make a move at the Yekri, and I get promptly rewarded for my aggression by the Jigsaw Hwagiban with a recoilless rifle. So, time to move up with the T-55 stealth tanks. At this range, it is very dangerous. I should have used something else. At this point, I think, you know what, screw it, we're going to go on a bombing run. And in the meanwhile, one of those K5Es has shown up, and I'm thinking it went after the Super Puma, but I'm not sure. I sent the Hawkz in, I drop a larger payload of bombs, this time not just 2 500 kilograms, but 4, and I managed to not kill his CV, but I kill a tow truck. The Super Puma, however, comes to the rescue. This is a transport helicopter. It has no armor. It has a light machine gun, 12.7mm. But, well, if I can get a few shots, and he's not making it easy, because the CV just ducked behind the building over there. The tow vehicle is temporarily the primary target until I reacquire the CV. This guy is actually the MVP of the match here. This one helo. And I fire a couple of rounds into the CV from the side-mounted machine gun on the helicopter. I stun it, I reload, and I miss a whole bunch of shots. And finally, I get the kill. I couldn't quite believe it. I had to zoom in when it actually happened. I thought, what? Yes, it worked. The Super Puma was able to kill the command vehicle, which left this Colonel, Blitz War, temporarily without a command vehicle in Gulf. He does have another one. And that's something that I cannot very easily take down. Well, arguably the Super Puma could have done it again, but I had no idea where his second CV was. I was also sending in a Seria 30 to try and deal some damage against, well, the CV, which at that point by the Super Puma had already been killed. The T-55 recon tanks are moving forward, trying to deal some damage against whatever they can find. And from here the match becomes potentially even more irregular. He's pushing back with whatever he has. KM900s, which kill my ROM, so I have no anti-air, but he has no planes. He has anti-air, but I'm not willing to send any planes. My Talak is still alive, but not likely to be able to do much. And the moment that the KAV-90 finds it, I'm going to be in trouble. I find some Sochong Su-85. The Spado and the Erics are going to work together to take those out. Temporarily, I have an advantage because he cannot bring in anything. He cannot bring in any helos, he cannot bring in any support, he cannot bring in any planes. If I'm able to secure the cap, and I mean that in the sense that I want to fly potentially a command infantry in, just to make sure that I get this sector and that he either does not, well, he brings a CV in and is not able to do anything, or he's able to, or I'm able to capture it and spawn in units behind him. The KT over here, the Mi-8T KT, was supposedly going forward, ran into a K900, takes it out, but, as you can see, and I could not, he still has a bit of NTR left. 4, now 3, 2 6-3s are awaiting me. And the Mi-8T goes down. At this point, I fly in a command helo, or I try to. Unfortunately, I'm still fairly oblivious as to where those 2 6-3s are, and his CV returns. He immediately spawns in new units, M48A5K, a command infantry unit, and a reconnaissance vehicle. I have, in the meanwhile, parked the CV over there. I didn't even bother to put it in cover because I was considering making a dash for his spawn. But at this point I thought, you know what, I'm never going to get in there. Because I thought that he still had something in these woods, and he didn't. I finally pull my flank defense forward, and I send forward another Hawk. Which makes absolutely no sense, but I was hell-bent on killing that NTR unit. The Erics and the Spado are trying to defend themselves against a couple of infantry. The Gongbyung with their napalm flash. And of course that goes about as well as can be expected, and they immediately wipe out the Spado, and they are very quickly on their way to killing off the Erico. So that is them done. And at this point I was scrambling. I tried to send in a command vehicle over here. His Chukyon Sa spot one lonely helicopter and his light fighter takes it down. That was expensive. That was 130 points, as it was a command unit inside of a helicopter. Okay then, we're going to move forward with the KT. With the BMP-1 KT, that is. I'm still unaware that there is a Chukyon Sa over there, but I quickly get enlightened to the fact that there is, as I immediately get killed off. At this point, I give up on this flank. Because I think, well, you know what, he has probably reinforced it, and if not, he's definitely in the process of doing that now. So I just decide to not send anything at all. And instead I go on the offensive with my T-55 stealth tanks. I drop off some Yekiri. I make sure that my T-55s are in a position to support, and so is the KT. And I try to move forward against the Chukyon Sa. Over here, these Chukyon Sa are awaiting the arrival of another unit. I think they just killed it. Yeah, here. What the hell did I send in here? Oh yeah, a helo. Another Mi-8. One of those Mi-8T KTs. And unfortunately, it died very quickly. The Chukyon Sa are playing hard to get. They're in the building over there. So I drop off the Yekiri, drop off more Yekiri. T-55, suppressing them as much as I can. And I just keep hopping to pursue them. He is not having any of that, and he pulls back. I try to get the T-55s forward to get rid of these guys once and for all, and it works. Now I should have moved on with the T-55s to counter these guys, and I do, but it takes me a little bit too much time in retrospect. Something else I'm completely lacking over here is any form of NTR. I have nothing. One of these things could have very easily escorted the units over there, but I neglected to do so, as I wanted to keep these guys pretty close to my main CV. And at this point I also have a second. But with the Chukyon Sa over there, and, well, God knows what else over there, I was not feeling very confident to put a CV in there. Whereas he was, and he puts the CV into Delta. It's not defended at all. Now, I try to get as many kills here with the T-55s as possible, and in the meanwhile, he is pushing back with some very, very light stuff. The M48A5s and a couple of KM900 recon vehicles. So Chung are moving in against my command vehicle, but thank God for this BMP-1KT, because it's able to very, very slowly, but steadily, do some suppression damage. I take out their vehicles, but the So Chung survive. The KM900 spots the CV and pushes it right into the So Chung Su-85, which promptly kill it. At this point, my fob is going to get captured, because I had nothing on the right flank. I had absolutely nothing on the right flank. Even the mortar is able to shoot its machine gun. This is such a nonsense game. Even the machine gun is on the mortar is trying to do something useful, and I think in tandem with the Su-57-2 is able to kill the KM900s that keep appearing from everywhere. Unfortunately, the KAV-90 was not too impressed with that gun, takes it out. At this point, moving forward with, believe it or not, another Super Puma, and I am once again able to kill his CV. I was surprised it worked once. I was basically laughing my ass off that it worked twice. But hey, if it's stupid and it works, well, it ain't stupid, as the saying goes. I push forward with nothing less than an empty 185 KT, which makes 0 sense again. And of course, against 2 KM900s, this thing, even though it has a little bit of armor, so do they. And without a Bushmaster 2, I don't do very well. I thought, you know what? If it worked twice, maybe it'll work a third time. So I sent the Super Puma further up the hill. And of course, this time around, it is not going to work, because the command infantry over there is backed up by 263 over there and another one back there. The fob has been captured, and I send forward some Sokols, because I'm thinking it's probably infantry. As it turns out, it is not infantry, it's just tanks that drove up to the front line. What I am able to do is kill off those KM900s, and I think that's courtesy of the Sokols. I didn't quite catch that moment. I had the rocket pods in this one turned off to get those ready for another kill. Unfortunately, I didn't quite turn them on at all, I think, and the unit died without having any use of those rocket pods at all. Now at this point, the battle is in his favor, mostly. I'm ahead on points. He is very much in control of the map, and I am, well, I'm scrambling all over. I'm trying to get as much stuff thrown at him as possible. Doing a little bit of stuff over here, doing a little bit of stuff over there, but no Schwerpunkt, if you will. Nothing that's really going to move the needle to make sure I try and capture his positions. A couple of tow vehicles move in. I drop a Hawk payload on them. I miss. They calm down. And they try once again to go for the T-55. The other one got killed off. The Ikari are moving forward, and I'm trying to get shots on them, but they run out of ammo. So they stop firing, and I lose line of sight, because they simply don't make any noise anymore. At this point, the Mistrals over here were taking down my Sokols, and the other Sokol that I tried to push forward, because I thought, you know what, I might get lucky again. Well, this time not so much, because there are machine guns, which helicopters are fairly allergic to. HH-10 really did not have much of a point beyond killing those M48A5s. But at this point, I am able to do some damage against whatever he has left. There were some, I think, UH-60 over there, which the Ito finally was able to take down in combination with the KTs. Over here, we're going to have a fairly uneven match. This is probably going to unpack in the favor of the Hwagiban. But well, undaunted and mostly unaware of the fact that there's Chokyon-sa over there, I fly in a reconnaissance helo, a command infantry helo, drop off the command infantry, and promptly leave it outside of the zone, as one does. But I am able to move forward and push his CV out of the sector with a whole 7 Ikari and 1 stealth tank. I mean, if Blitzwar had had any other deck, he would have definitely killed me way, way faster than what he's doing now. But I think Based on what I saw and what I was told, he's doing a bad deck challenge or a motorized Korean challenge or something like that. And because of that, he is using this deck. It's also why you're not seeing any heavy tanks. He doesn't have them. So, the T-55 trying to do a little bit of funny maneuvering between the buildings, trying to get a shot at the retreating command vehicle. Unfortunately, I find the tow vehicle first, but I kill it. What I cannot kill very well is this, the KAFV-90. Another Peace Pheasant flies in. The T-55 over there gets killed. This one survives. I'm able to kill one KAFV-90 in return. And the Erics are able to, I think, hit the vehicle, but don't kill it. Over here I find some more Chokyonsa with Panzerjägeri and a couple of KTs. I push back somewhat. But overall, this forest over here is really not that critical. I mean, yes, it's great if I can keep control over it, but it's not essential. But you can just see how the battle is spread out over the entire map. I'm trying to find any point of weakness, but at this point, he has a little bit everywhere. Recon, recoilless rifle infantry, some of his transports. He has UDT SEALs this time around defending the Bonbu, his command infantry. There's another CV over there, and I do know pretty much exactly where it is, but all of my Hawks have died. Even if they had not, I probably would not have been able to pass the 2 Mistral over there. At this point, he starts probing, and he probes with a KM900, fairly successfully so. And at this point, I had sent forward a KT and a couple of Charioteers, believe it or not. 15-point tanks. Again, I was just throwing shit at the wall. And the wall, in this case, was the buildings, or the tree line over there, to try and defend against the buildings here. Because I thought he might have something in there, and I wanted to get a CV into Echo to start my tick again. I send a Sokol forward, and the Chokyonsa don't care. They immediately wipe it out, and at this point I am squarely out of my favorite helicopter, which is the Mi-8T KT. What I do have is access to the Mi-17 with their rocket pods. You can see one in action here, which is working on a 263. It's managed to stun it, but once that 263 wakes up, it's going to have a bit of a bad mood and tries to kill the Mi-17. So I try to run away as best I can, and I think I actually managed to make it out of there with the Mi-17. Scores currently 170 for him versus a mere 87 for me. Still, for a 40-minute game, I have already lasted 28 minutes against a Colonel. I thought that that was not terrible. I thought that that was actually pretty good. I was a bit dispirited, so I thought, you know what, we're just going to keep throwing shit at the game and see what sticks. And it kind of worked. Oh, I still have one Mi-8T left. I drop off the Spado because I do not know how much anti-air he has. And the Chokyonsa over there are merrily spotting my command infantry, which I just do not see. He just knows exactly where it is, but I think he does not have any killing power over here. So even though he can see it, he can't kill it, short of just sending the Chokyonsa in, but he doesn't want to do that, it seems. Over here, my quad stack of Charioteers is, well, trying to pick a fight with something. And just how bad these things are, especially if they do not have any recon, is going to be demonstrated by this KAFV-90. To be fair, it is elite. To be fair to these things, they are not. They do have 5 frontal armor, but this thing can punch through that with ease. These things have bad optics. They're basically blind, and I'm supposed to use them as fire supports, which I do not in this case. I just push them forward. I thought, you know what, at some point, right, at some point I will spot whatever is shooting me. Yeah, not really. I just get my Charioteers back in pieces. I decide to pull one back, and I send forward a 185 KT that I still had to try and spot whatever the fuck that was. And of course, that gets killed as well. It really made no sense, this game. Now at this point, I sent forward some more Charioteers here to try and get rid of the Chokyonsa. The Chokyonsa, are they even allowed to fire? Yeah. I think they did exchange a little bit of fire with the command infantry. and of course with the vehicle that just drove past. But it's actually the command infantry that opens up with a machine gun against these special forces, and the special forces decide to pull out. Right. Again, he very, very much has map control. I'm just trying to probe as much as I can. I'm trying to move the Charioteer to deal with the KAFV-90, but it kills all of them. The Alouette knows where it is, but I don't have any killing power here. So I decide to just, you know what, skip the whole town, and I move a BTR with Yakety over there. But what's currently happening over here is that he is sending forward a couple of UH-60s, trying to deal with my command infantry. He's also moving forward the Chokyon-Sa. And I'm trying to deal damage against those Helos with my fairly terrible NTR units, the 57-2s. But hey, for 25 points, you're not supposed to expect anything from these. He gets another command vehicle. He also buys a new one for Bravo. I am temporarily at a +1. Thankfully, I captured Echo, but the position here is very shaky. The moment he moves forward with the Sochong-Su, I'm done. He just doesn't. He goes straight for the 2-pointer, which of course is more valuable. And the moment that I am able to at least negate the threat as much as possible against the Chokyon-Sa, his CV arrives. The Jiwa-Cha is in position. Sorry, Jiwi-Cha. And that means he's now at a +1. And soon after, I get swamped by all sorts of units, and at this point I have nothing left. The Mi-17 makes a valiant effort to deal with all the incoming threats. The Chokyon-Sa, the UDT SEALs, more SEALs, and the KM-900. But unsuccessfully so. Oh, right, there's even more Jigsaw-Hwagiban over there, the recoilless rifle infantry. I lose the CV, and at this point it's GG for me, because I have no further hope of being able to secure his position. So, I held out against a colonel for about 25 minutes. Not just that, but the guy who mentored Victor, as Victor said. Blitz War, again, has or will cover this game on his channel. At least that's what he said. So be sure to check it out, linked down below in the description. I'm going to be watching just to see what his perspective is. And also going to be watching his content more to see what I can improve. I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy game, and let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you soon for more.